Hello, hello, hello. Happy Tuesday, everyone. How is everyone doing this morning? Good morning, Sterling. UPS results. UPS down pretty big after a miss. Down pretty big. So we'll take a look at that, at least in the overview section. Good morning, Sterling. There you go. What else we have? We have Lockheed, which was a beat. We have Coke, which was a beat. Pretty much so far. UPS, but that's even shipping. Consumer is slowing down rapidly. GM was a beat. Good morning, Patrick. Hey, John. Hey, Richard. Remind me towards the end. Hello, Charles. Again, welcome. Still can't get streaming to work on X, so that's probably done at this point. My account's all messed up anyways. So we'll just see where this leads. If YouTube goes away again, then I don't know. So we'll see. Other than that, what do we got going on? We're really getting into some good. Yeah, that's what I was with. Spot has gone crazy. I did not see their official earnings release though. It's up big. It's up big. But they have oh, come on. There we go. Hey AS, nice to see you. All right. Well, we'll take if anybody has the Spotify results, and let me know. Richmond Fed coming out today. Red Book coming in 4.9 versus 4.8. The numbers are just so weird. Existing home sales dropping. Sorry, that comes out at. I'm sorry, that's the previous. That comes out at 10 Eastern. So we're keeping an eye on that. But really, it's a Richmond Fed. It's a quiet day. It's going to be really earnings based today. Earnings are a big thing, especially after the close. So that's really what I'm watching. So here we go with the heat map. You see UPS down over 10% at this point. We have some chips getting hit a bit, but we have the defense stocks and aerospace, defense and aerospace moving on up with earnings. So that's where we sit overall. If we look at the groups today, let's just do a quick refresh. We got healthcare, real estate, comm services, energy leading the double, continues to play out on crude. But sort of a very mixed market this morning going into the open, even though you've had a lot of beats on some key companies. You've had a lot of beats, but UPS, that's really leading to a major slowdown. So if you want a canary in the coal mine, UPS could be it. Fed watch, it's still cut in September, pause in July, cut in September. Fear and greed, back to greed mode. Schiller PE, nosebleed territory, close to 36 again. So we already talked about spot was up huge, UPS down. GE Aerospace was up, GM up, Coca-Cola up, Lockheed Martin up. After we got Tesla going into earnings after the close. Alphabet and Visa, those are the biggest ones. Visa watched the transaction standpoint from consumers. Alphabet, is when the Mag 7 and tells technically is Tesla. So you got a couple of the Mag 7s and you got Visa coming in after the close. So that's going to be very important. Tomorrow before the open isn't that much. You got General Dynamics, so more war stocks, and we got AT&T after the big Boston Scientific, but nothing much going on tomorrow morning. It's really after close today. What else? All right, here we go. Spotify earnings beat. They beat. Then they meet on revenue. Sees Q3 app monthly active users 6.39. I mean, spot is just. I don't know how it warrants a stock price, but it doesn't matter. You still it closed above the 62.5. What's the magnet price? 347.67. Nice gap up. So you still have that 80s. Does it have to stop there? No. But that's the magnet price. So that's where that sits. That's where that sits. All right. So what's going on here? We had a little percent B buy follow through with the close above the high in the S&P yesterday. The technical stop is still below the low. Now, the more aggressive stop, I just want to review something. So if anybody's thinking of researching stuff, they can do that. By the way, there is a little mini double top. So the traditional, more aggressive stop is you trail with and you watch for a close above the 62.5. If this double triggered though, that could be something because we could then come back down and easily close below 62.5. So that's where, depending on your reward to risk, where it entered, because you know you could have been entered intraday yesterday, and then depending on your reward to risk and where your initial stop was, determines how you can manage the trade. Now, on a more aggressive side, I'd really be watching if we close and follow through with a close below this potential double. Could this potential double still be taken out on the open and just and become invalid? Yes. So that's something you have to consider. Just going to review things. So that's still a potential. Again, not triggered or confirmed. Market could still go higher. We do have the percent B buy. It is something I'm keeping an eye on. All right. Technically, we're still above. We have a pretty key support level at this 5,600 area. So I'm going to be sitting up and take notice, especially if we start dropping below there on the open. Other than that, next key area on the rally today is about 56.32, the 50% retracement, and then 56.54 on a closing basis. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on. Exactly, with daily cycles going to the bottom. Remember, the GDP and PCE numbers come out Thursday and Friday. So could we still see a relief rally, especially if, what if Google beats this afternoon? We could continue to see a bounce. In the NASDAQ, this also triggered a percent B buy. NASDAQ's weaker, so it really needs something. By the way, there is no potential double here. You see this is now a triple. But if we start really dropping below about 19,860, I'm going to sit up and take notice. And right now, on the percent B buy, I'm really going to be watching 19,800. Because if it came back down and closed below there, we could easily see a retest that low area. And we did not get follow through then. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on there. Do we still have the little bounce play in mind though? Okay. So that's where that sits. Also, next key targets, if it does continue through yesterday's high, next minor target area is about 20,100, where we have the two moving averages meet, and then the very key is 20,150. The Dow, still just pausing here. We at least have a pausing bar should we break below last Friday's low. Okay, so that's there. Other than that, there's not much going on yet. Just a slight channeling recovery pattern, but not a strong recovery yet in the Dow. So that's something else. The Russell, this was not a percent B buy, but this is a rotation for me of watching the rotation. Again, 3-day pullback into the rotation zone. This day closing above the day before's high. So now it has to hold yesterday's low. And from what I'm watching, again, I'm watching for this to top out. We've now hit the 50% harmonic right here. So in order to get follow through, I need the close above 260 what 2261.3. If we start taking out yesterday's low, we could pretty much make a quick trip to 2150. VIX still staying elevated. Reversal yesterday, but not closing below that 15 really. Technically 1490, but that's it's an area you see here. It's holding right here. We're just watching 15 as an area. So if we have to really start pulling back below 15 to sustain this bounce. The DAX coming up, really still paying attention. 18,683 on a closing basis. All right, DAX was also a percent B, follow through buy, and we've got the bounce. We hit the 75% harmonic, but now I need to see it close above the 62.5. Notes, we're pretty much in pause mode. I would be shocked if we made major substantial moves before Thursday/Friday. Yeah, inside day so far, so not much to talk about there. This was interesting, this sloppy double, which triggered with cycles at a top against the rotation zone. So lower probability, just more so watching this to see what happens. But it is interesting that it did trigger. 10-2s still pausing above the most recent breakout level. Dollar index, no trigger yet on the mini double bottom. Would need a close above 104.05 to trigger. Crude, yes, you do have a little lopsided double right now, but it's, we could easily trade back to the 77 level before it could be off the table. It's the only thing I'm watching. If we did bounce above this high from 78.73, the double would essentially be over for me. However, we still have that magnet price right around 77 bucks. That's the 62.5 and the final target area for the double. So still watching for a continued pullback in crude. Gold. Gold's interesting. We have a little mini trigger double, which is retesting the support for a little mini bounce play only. Now, if we follow through with a daily close above yesterday's high, it's a percent B buy. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on, especially with this little mini double trigger. It's not getting a lot of traction though so far. Silver getting down this very key area, and copper continuing in the dumps. Gonna be really watch this 409 area with a reconnection of the harmonic and the 200, and a little key support areas coming into. Getting very oversold, but this would be a bounce and rollover play potentially only. There's not a long-term buy at all. Dr. Copper stating more slowdown in the economy. Nothing going on in bond land really until Thursday, Friday. Yen, keeping an eye on this. This is now we're getting to a little bounce, the rollover play against the rotation zone. Keeping an eye. This is the only thing that makes me short term for a continued bounce play, and yen weakness would be if this double triggers. Nothing really talking about euro and pound. Bitcoin, it's got this little potential double top, which is confirmed but not triggered yet. Not triggered yet. And that's for a small pullback potentially only. Here's your Ethereum. which I haven't looked at in a long time, but the ETFs are supposedly start trading today. Let me look at the longer term. You got, is that a confirmed double top? Not triggered. 2, 8, 14, 12. 2, 8. Yes, it is. You do have a confirmed but not triggered double top there. It has not gotten up high enough to invalidate it yet. So from the bullish side, you want to see a move back above 37.74 roughly to invalidate the double that's not been triggered. Other than that, not much to talk about. It's now turning into more of a sideways channel, but the double's still technically valid. What else? Spiders. Again, you got a Spiders got the percent beat by. Also, you still have your targets the upside 556.54, 558.69. On any rally, I'd watch for it's just a slight open below yesterday's close. But key support for me is coming in about 552.25. And then you have the next support area right around 551. The Qs also with a percent beat by. Minor target is 485. Next key target is 488. Slight gap down this morning for the gap fill would be the first upside target, but the support levels for me on this 479.15, and then major support coming in about 477.50. What else? Tesla going into earnings. You still have a little mini potential double. What would invalidate it before earnings? If you got a trade back above 261.52. Again, this has not been confirmed or triggered, so it could be invalidated before earnings. However, we will see, because the rotation zone on a daily would be out of the way going into earnings if this did trigger. Nvidia, still the double is still in play. Nothing has changed. So, what else do we have here? Oh, we had what? Who won some? Was it Applied Material? Yeah, AMAT for Royal Palms. Applied Material, which again, on this system, have not looked at in forever. Actually, looked at it on my other system. Right now, this is what worries me about Applied Materials. In the most recent run-up, we closed below 62.5. We have the cross of the rotation zone. So I am watching for rollover plays and actually a reconnection with the area of the 200 eventually. The only thing that would change my opinion in the short term, it would have to get and close back above 238.56. Other than that, I'm watching for rollover plays. And no, this is not a double top. It extended too far on the right-hand side. But the probabilities we could easily see a reconnection with the 200 over the next few weeks, unless it can really regain 238.56 on a closing basis. It's trying to bounce off a prior resistance, become pretty significant support zone. But one of the things that caught my eye also, it did manage to close below there. Now we're getting the bounce play, but there's a lot of overhead resistance that's going into. A lot of overhead resistance. So I'm really watching, even if it bounced to 232.78 for a potential rollover. Where else do we sit? CCJ triggered a weekly head and shoulders last week. Yep, it did. I don't know if it's, yeah. Let's see here. Again, I'd use the modified flat neckline. And really focus on that 41.10, 41.20 area. Let's see where that is on the daily. Look at this, a little bounce off the 200. If this 200 loses though, yeah, I'd definitely be focusing on that 41.10 area because you're getting the initial reaction to that 200 on that daily, and you got the cross rotation zone. I'd be watching even on a bounce to mid 49s. I'd be watching for the rollover play in that. All right, that's really about it. Let's just check in. Again, the only thing on this is we've already triggered the little mini bounce pattern. The only thing is if we triggered a double for a more substantial pullback, but the key area is still technically the strongest stop for this bounce is still below yesterday's, Friday's low. You take out Friday's low, it's probably going to be a quick trip. By the way, Coco, you mentioned something about the gap. This is a roll gap. This is a roll gap. You see, if we back adjust it, there's no gap there. So can roll gaps still be somewhat important? Yeah, but it's not like there's a major breakaway gap here. Could we still go down and fill it? Yes, easily. What's going to be interesting, though, is if we set up more so on the NASDAQ, if we set up a head and shoulders pattern on this, even with a continued bounce, we could set up a head and shoulders pattern on this. Then I'd be really watching for the next big rollover play. I did not cover Amazon. Amazon, the key level I'm still watching on the closing basis is 179.40. It lost. It closed below last week. It closed below very, very key support. And we have the cross rotation zone. So unless they do something massive on earnings, I'm watching for rollover plays. Now, what will confirm to really start watching for rollover plays, and then my target is the 200, my initial target, is we need to follow through at this point with a close below 179.40. Because that tips the odds to retesting this key reversal candle back from the 25th of April, the 87.5 rule, and then the 100. And those have not been triggered yet. But look where the 200 day is, and if we look at the weekly, look where the 50 is. And this is a very key support level. So if we break lower, this 166 area, 166 to about 170 is very key for Amazon. There you go. With that, I'm going to jump into the open. I hope everyone has a wonderful trading day. Remember, Tesla and Alphabet / still will always be Google to me after the close today, which are definitely market moving. I will chat with everybody later. Bye for now.